Okay, welcome on in. Hello and welcome on in, everybody, to another Hurt Handbook Fighter interview. Going to be done by yours truly, Tiz. My first for the channel. Rob's done the first two, and today I get treated with a very special guest who's had over 50 pro fights in his MMA career to this point, and he made his return this past Saturday for the B2 Fighting Series, his heavyweight debut, if I'm not mistaken, and that's right. Yeah, back on the winning track as well. It's the one and only Smilen Sam Alvey. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for wanting me on, my friend.
Hey, yeah, no problem. All right. So let's just get to it. Yeah, we're not. We'll start with the recency of what just happened. You just picked up your first win in 5 years at heavyweight as well. Yet another weight class where you're just completing all the side trials that there are to complete in MMA. And it's yeah, for fans like us, we appreciate it very much. That's why, we had to get you on here. We know that you've been around this game for quite some time, so there's plenty to get into. But yeah, starting with this past Saturday, how did that feel? Just making that walk and at heavyweight too. So that's obviously, nothing to scoff at. But with your corner too, because I gotta say, your coaches, man, they provide some great content for your channel. Speaking with that, they are funny, man, with what they were giving you. And I could tell like you could just you probably feel so much more like, relaxed and zen when they're just that you've got them in your corner and yeah, you're in there doing your thing. So how did that feel?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got over 80 fights, 50 professional MMA fights, a lot more kickboxing whole nighters. I have fought more than just about everyone. I think it's like uh Lopez, what's his name? Big heavyweight Lopez and Musasi have more fights than me, and that's like the entire list. So I am aware that in while being in my corner, you're not going to teach me anything new. I'm not going to be able to teach you. So have fun with it. Just tell me little things. I tell when I corner, I tell them useful stuff that I think is useful. But more importantly, I tell them what I think the judges need to hear. And that's kind of the goal. I said, just say stuff to make the judges know I'm winning. Every time I kick, go, and every time he kicks, go boo. Just make sure the judges see it the way it's actually happening, or see it the way we actually want them to see it happen.
Yeah, and then so just to speak more to obviously the amount of fights that you've had in the sport by now, with it being your heavyweight debut, like was cardio, ever in question, or even during the fight as we were getting closer and closer to the end and you managed to pull out the round three TKO. So I mean, yeah, like the fight should have been stopped. For some reason the referee just let you keep going at him, and then so there you go. But yeah, was that everything was out all right? Your training, everything was set?
Yeah, everything was set. Now heavyweight is I'm not a heavyweight. I weighed in at 230. He weighed in at 267 or two. Yeah, Georgia gives you 2 pounds, not
Yep.
just one. There's a big weight difference between us. I'm hoping to be 205 for the rest of my career, but I couldn't find anyone to fight me. You said yes to anyone that wanted to, and I just have people keep saying no, 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 no. I said fine, I'll fight heavyweight if that's all I can find. So we found Cameron Graham. I mean, he's a fighter's fighter. He said, yeah, let's do it. Heavyweight, I don't care. He doesn't care. I don't care. And so we fought big guys. My condition was on point. I have been tired now in two fights, my third amateur fight and this last heavyweight fight. Whether it be my added size or me moving around that big boy, I got tired, and I'm so embarrassed because I have prided myself that I will never get tired in a fight. I push my cardio harder because I know I'm not a particularly athletic person. I was not trained from birth to be the greatest fighter that's ever been. I stumbled into fighting around age 21 and got really good at it. So I know everything I have to do is trained, and I started behind the ball. The one thing I know I can do is I could push my cardio. So I have always pushed it. I have always pushed as hard as I can to make sure I don't get tired. And I did everything the same, but a little heavier this time in my cardio, and it wasn't enough. I still got tired. I wasn't, in round one, he kind of leaned into me for a little longer than I was comfortable with. And what I would do and normally do with my training partners is I can move them. He just had extra 50 pounds he had. It weighed me down and made me push a little harder. And so by
Yeah.
the middle of round two, I started realizing, crap, I gotta finish this. And going going into
Dude, yeah, and then the referee's making you work even
first two.
harder, not taking you off, like, as it was clear like you had him beat. There was nothing he was gonna do afterwards. So but yeah, man, like, and we keep even the call, the interview too, you grabbed the mic, you stole the moment there. And the Paul brothers, man, they better have been watching, because either one of
Oh,
them can get the
they're
Smiling
scared.
Sam smoke.
They're scared. They don't want any part of me. I've told the story.
Oh,
5 or 6 years ago, I got to spar with him. I sparred Logan Paul, and at the end of me sparring with Logan Paul, Jake Paul wouldn't spar me. He wouldn't do his rounds with me, and I was going light. I was going as light as I could, and so I don't suspect the fight will happen. But I'm in all likelihood, I'm not a big enough name. I'm a big name in MMA. If you know fighting, you know Smilen Sam. But I mean, they're fighting world champions, Anderson Silva. They're fighting world champion challengers, Diaz brothers and Woodley, and I mean, they're fighting guys that are a little bit bigger and smaller than him.
yeah, but like, with your name needs to be in that ring regardless. When for a guy that's seen it all, like you have, like, when
One thing I could
Sam
promise.
with Smiling Sam speaking, you gotta fit. Go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say one thing I could promise them is if we were to fight, I'd win. I could promise them that. But if we were to fight, there wouldn't be a person on the planet that sold that fight more than me. I would outsell them if that fight were to happen. I would be on every radio, every podcast, every show, everything, just running my mouth. I would make sure that every person on this planet knew how I felt about the Paul brothers and what I was going to do to them.
Yeah, they just don't realize it yet, but soon enough, soon enough. So
Maybe they do. Maybe that's the
I
reason
mean,
they're scared of me. They realize what I
so
would do to them.
yeah, I guess we could use that as like a little transition. I was thinking about maybe saving this for later, but in terms of, like, a guy like you too, who's obviously, been around as just about every, promotion that there is. With, like, because we're seeing it now with Francis Ngannou signing with the PFL, and obviously, Jake Paul playing his role into that. And just for the grand scape of MMA as a whole, because in terms of a whole fighter union and all that, like, we're still quite a ways away from that. But just like this, this change, period, like, how, what, even for someone, like you, like, what do you think that could mean from,
So,
any promotion or individual fighter going forward?
so I'm one of the fighters that I'm against the fighter union. I think it would do nothing but hurt the UFC fighters and fighters in general. And I've been probably more vocal than I should be about that because people hate that I say it. But I am against the fighter union. What I am for is what Francis Ngannou did. Francis Ngannou is a game changer. He stared his future in the eyes with the UFC, and he didn't blink. The UFC didn't blink either, but it paid off for Francis. He's got a $10 million bonus. He's president in Africa. He's got a guaranteed $2 million for whoever fights him. What Francis did is what needs to be done to make pay get better. Now, pay is getting better. The success of the PFL and Bellator and ONE FC and Eagle popping up and the bare knuckle. I mean, there are promotions out there that are driving the wages up in fighting. They're making every fighter worth a little bit more because there's so much competition. And the way Francis was able to go in there and say, I want more than you're willing to give me and be willing to walk away. That's incredible. I'm so proud of what he has done. And I love the UFC. I would have resigned. I have everything the UFC's done for me. But for Francis to have the cojones to go in there, and he's a big man, so I assumed he had big cojones, but I didn't know they were that big. For him to go out there and do exactly that and win is something else.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a big, talking point for me and Rob, like, on, when we turn on the camera, we start recording, and just seeing, from, social media period, just, the backlash that, a move like that receives and stuff, not realizing, like, the sea change that it could, spark. And then, from there, obviously things are better for everybody. So yeah, it was cool to get your 2 cents on that. And yeah, like, just starting back, like, for someone to, because even just I I'm gonna see how I can intertwine both these questions I have here into one. But you over 50 for like pro fights, even just fight to fight, opponent to opponent. Like, how does it even at the start at the start of it all, you started wrestling. I see. As well, you started wrestling, you started playing football. Um, and yeah, you found, and then fighting was. I don't. Did fighting find you, or you found fighting?
No, it found me, and I only kind of wrestled. I was a B team wrestler for 4 years. I wrestled 2 years, my junior, senior year of high school, my junior, senior year of college. I just enjoyed doing it. I was an okay B team wrestler at a D3 school, but I was a good throwing dummy for the good guys. Football, I played 1 year, my junior year of college, and I was terrible. Oh, it was a mistake playing that. I mean, so my the last day of football season, I went in and told the coaches, "Hey, coaches, thanks for everything. I'm not going to be back next year." Oh, sorry, my geese are showing nuts. Let me step inside. Those geese drive me nuts. They just follow me and taunt.
Hey man, it's that time of the year, no problem.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I went and talked to my football coaches, and I told them, "Hey, I'm not going to be back next year. Y'all beat me up," and they laughed. And I mean, like, big laugh. Said, "Sam, we didn't think you were going to make it through this year. Oh my God, power to you." I said, "I may not be good at football, but I'm not a quitter." So that was the end of my football prowess. Well, I had one big play on the B team of a junior year of a college football team at a D3 school, but that somewhere in there I started fighting, and I said I could do this. I couldn't bring myself to run head first into another man, but I can hit someone with my fist already.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, so then in that case, as I see too, this is all from when you were in, yeah, yeah, in high school. I don't want to mix it up with college, but in high school, you were a musician too. So I have to, think like what even really got that inspiration, because you said that fighting found you, but was there even like another career path in mind, like music, for instance? Me too, like someone like someone who I personally love music and fighting, and like I see just the simple the art comparison between them, just like there's so many styles to do it. Anybody can do it their own way, and so, like there's a beauty to it all. So like you know was there anything else in mind, or just fighting fell into your lap?
I was a semi-professional trumpet player. I was pretty good. I played through college. I played out of college. I played trumpet for a long time. I just didn't make any money in it. The
Nice.
band, the orchestras and big bands I was part of, they made money. I just didn't. That's why I say semi-professional. But I was real good at trumpet. Uh, Fighting, I
Hell
just
yeah.
started doing, and fighting started paying. I think I made like $200 a fight for a while. I said, "Hey, I'm not making anything playing trumpet, so I'll do this." And so I started fighting. I may be the only one in the world with a story like that, but it is part of what makes Smilen Sam unique.
That's yeah, dude, that's awesome. Well, I mean, there you go. I mean, since you got that, like now, we're fighting all that, and like we could just just go chronological order pretty much. I want to start with with new season all being back, and we have our own little series here that we do on the channel. The Ultimate Fighter, you were a contestant there. I mean, shoot, man, like obviously, like just being an MMA fighter is only something that only obviously so many people on the planet get to do, and then for someone who's done it as long as you have, and then the Ultimate Fighter going through that whole thing, and then they say the hardest job interview ever, like that right there is the Ultimate Fighter. Like, what was your mindset heading into it? And then just take it just day by day, living in the house with everybody.
Yeah,
What was that
everyone
experience like?
everyone's a little disappointed with my answer to say it was really boring. And I think anyone that's on the show would
I
back me up.
believe it. I mean, like,
You're
yeah,
stuck in that house with
you're in exactly.
you're stuck in that house with
Go
15
on.
dudes that are fighters. All they want to talk about is fighting. All there is to do is nothing most of the time. You get one, maybe two workouts a day. The rest of the time you're stuck in this house doing nothing. And it was just so tedious and boring. I love the people I met. I love the connections I made. I love the opportunity to do it. We were actually just watching this season a few days ago, and this new season, Connor versus Chandler. And I said, you know what? If they were to ask, I would do it again. Hey, why not? It might be fun now. because I wouldn't have the rest of my career, lined up to win the show. I would go in there and I would do everything I could and have a much better time doing it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so from when you were on Tough, and just like speaking from where UFC and MMA was as a whole at the time and to where it is now, obviously the just absolute global phenomenon that it is. And then obviously the Ultimate Fighter itself taking the little break that it did too. Have you been noticing anything like vastly different from when you were there, a part of it, to like now seeing these later seasons and these younger guys and stuff?
Uh not so much in Tough. It's about the same show from what I can tell. Right now, more than ever before, and this the UFC in general, they prefer that O record. 9-0, 3-0, 2-0, 20-0. They prefer that O, as opposed to my season. There's nobody who was undefeated. Everyone was, 6-1. I was like 23-2 or something. I had a big record going to the show. They value that undefeated more than ever before, which I think is going to make it real hard for a lot of fighters to have the longevity that I did, because their value is based on that undefeated streak. If ever they meet somebody that takes that undefeated streak, it's now greatly tarnished the only value they had. And I think Tough is doing a lot of that too. Is they're really focusing on they want the undefeated. And I know this is the comeback, not a comeback season, but Pros versus Joe's kind of season. Stay down here, Ellie. Okay. And I think that they're highlighting too much the need to be undefeated.
Yeah, yeah. That's really tell you. I mean, I don't know if you maybe have 2 cents as to why that is, but yeah, that's pretty interesting to me, I suppose. As to why, like, because nobody's perfect, no one's gonna like, yeah, I guess why is valuing just staying undefeated, that big fight all the time, and then over longevity and just putting a career and just yeah, but yeah, that is interesting. But so you could take because something like this, I feel like and everyone has their own way. Once again, just to like tally back to what I was saying before, but to go through something like this, like and to obviously have the career that you have, like this really could like make or break someone like you. But the drought in UFC, the 9-fight drought, before you ended up leaving, and like even whether at which point, whether it's towards the end, like so last year when your last fight for UFC was, or right in the middle of it, or even just before that, the beginning of it, like how do you just manage to put together just training camp, just like compartmentalize that, come in ready for each opponent and just leave it all out there, and there's only so much you can control at the end of the day to get your hand raised. So
Yeah, I never came into effect. I know even right now outside of the UFC, I could beat any person in the world. On any given day, I could beat Israel Adesanya. I know I could. But I have to earn the shot. I have to earn the opportunity. I have to keep training that hard. So whether I lose or win, it really never affected my mindset. I knew I was better than everyone, as every fighter does. They all know they are the greatest thing that's ever been. It just didn't work out with me in quite a few of those fights. And me personally, I think if you rewatch them, I think I won like four of those 8, at least
dude,
4,
I'll
maybe.
say,
It was
because
I got
the
very strongly robbed a few times and cheated a couple others.
the one loss that's not even here, the split draw with Darwin Young, I thought was rather, especially seeing the eye pokes too that he was given to you, and then but obviously not as egregious as a Wellington Turman was given to you, and then
That cheating
who
son of
actually was losing points
he
for
lost two
that as
points
well.
to
I
find a
mean,
way to
like,
win. Even without
yeah,
those
man. So
I was
like, I
stronger
think,
every round. I out
yeah.
grappled him. I out
So I definitely
everything.
wanted to get. I definitely wanted to get like your 2 cents on like the landscape of judging today, and commissions and all that. Like, is where, like, how can this just, because it's getting like, me and Rob too on here, like we can all, yeah, like we're ripping into it, and it's like it's just not adding up most of the time. So
Yeah, so I think a difference. So
If you
boxing,
know,
everyone, yeah, in boxing, everyone says that the judges are crooked. They're all paid off by whoever's supposed to win. In MMA, I don't think they're crooked like that. I think they're just bad at their jobs. I think, and I don't think it's all their fault. I think the commission has made the scoring system so incredibly narrow, or you have to know exactly what's going on,
yeah,
and you get these guys that haven't trained. Um, like I know, and a lot of fans don't know that if a submission attempt is in, but you don't tap, it means it didn't hurt. It means it didn't do anything. So like that time Tony Ferguson was in the armbar with, was it Oliveira did it? It didn't hurt. It
yeah.
would have hurt the rest of us. Didn't hurt him. It shouldn't have been scored as damage. It should have been scored as, it was control, and control is worth almost nothing.
That's what we're asking. Yeah, that's what. Go on, go on.
Yeah, I was saying most of jujitsu in MMA is just control. And they've gone out of their way to say control no longer matters unless it does. And now if you're getting jujitsu, that control matters. If you're wrestling somebody, that control does not matter when they are the exact same thing. And I think that is a big part of the problem with MMA scoring is nobody knows what control is. Nobody knows what jujitsu is actually doing. If you're trying to break my arm, trying to break my knee, trying to make me fall asleep, and it doesn't happen, it means it wasn't in. It means it did nothing except hold me in a position, which is nothing more than control, and control isn't supposed to matter. I mean, an armbar that doesn't work is the same thing as jab that misses. It did nothing.
That's yeah. I mean, because that's what at least for me, I had that question. It's like, how do you even really quantify damage? Like I see there's the significant strike stat and all that,
Which
but
I
even
think
with
is a
that,
garbage
it's like
stat because hey, can you tell me what a significant strike is? Nobody can.
that's
I've
what
looked
I'm
at
saying.
the
I'm thinking like, so your fight against Don Young, you had blood leaking out of your nose, and so like I guess like the judges are seeing that and are like, oh, we got, I guess he wore one pretty hard, and so got to score that,
yeah, and you look
significant
at
strike, however it's been.
if you look at the
Yeah.
and that's why I don't like the significant strike unless it helps me, then I'll brag about it. But in the Darwin Young fight, I outstruck him both significantly and unsignificantly 3 rounds to none. I outstruck him significant, I mean, by a bunch every round, in both areas. He dropped me in the third. I got back up and I hit him again 10-1 going into the decision. And one judge still gave him a 10-8 round for it, which is I don't understand it. 10-8 rounds are another thing. Don't get me started. They're disease to this industry. 10-8 rounds. But it's, I mean, as bad as some of the judges are and how they see it, they don't. I think that the scoring is so wishy-washy that it just doesn't. It's hard to come up with a good scoring system too. I mean, I personally, I kind of think if you go pride rules at the end of the fight, who won the fight? I mean, that's kind of yeah, that guy's limping. He should probably. You kind of look at who lost the fight as opposed to well, who technically had more this or that. Look at it as a fight. Fighting's not that complicated. It's you're going out to beat the other guy up. He's going out to beat you up. Who got beat up?
Yeah, I mean that's that. That I guess it's just even with like because I get like that. I think like a ref, for instance, gets looked at and might seem like might get backlash for trying to what seems like they're trying to just interject themselves. They're trying to make the fight about themselves, and then just ultimately like we can't really get a clear just a ref who's not going to interfere with whatever it might be in that instance. And then you have the judges too who don't. I guess what I'm really trying to get is like they don't they don't really they just don't have to answer to anybody, and so they put in the scorecards and the decision's made, and that's just it. It's on to the next one. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like it would be nice to hear from these guys every now and then, but it's just not how it works. So, but with that being said, so here we are now. Like, yeah, you just picked it. Your the first win in 5 years. That's awesome. Congratulations again. And from here, like, what's what else is in mind? Like, is fighting still goes? There's still a championship to go after.
Yeah, I'm
What's
still one of the
what's
greatest
the
in the
end
world.
goal?
I'm still one of the greatest in the
Hell
world. I
yeah.
know I could walk into any gym in the country and be one of the best people on that mat. I know I could be. So I'm not done yet, not by a long shot. Maybe I'll try bare knuckle. I love that karate combat. I'm gonna really put my finger into that, see if they're interested in working with me. Or maybe I'll fight local again. I'm fine with that. I enjoy what I do more than most people, and to be able to be given the opportunity to keep doing it, I'm gonna jump all over it. I'm better than my most recent record, and I'm ready to go out there. Add some more green to my tapology. Maybe get back in
Hell
UFC.
yeah. You know, we're always open for it, regardless, man. We're gonna be keeping up with you here. And it's great to have you. So
Well,
once
thank
again,
you.
thanks very much. Smilen Sam Alvey joining the horror head with today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, we'll leave. I think we should have a playlist by now with the interviews. Got 3 of them, so we'll get that link in the description there. You can go check out the other ones as well. And that'll do it. We will see you next week, guys, for another for some more videos. And yeah, thank you.